Hello and welcome to Penalty on the Podcaster, the weekly NFL predicting podcast. This week, predicting the divisional round of the 2022 postseason. And I'm calling it the 2022 postseason because it comes after the 2022 season, obviously. Even though it all occurs in 2023. It's been interesting. We've seen the weak teams get weeded out. The frauds like the Buccaneers and the Seahawks got pummeled, and sort of the Vikings. I don't think the Vikings are frauds. They just collapsed. Yeah, I guess Daniel Jones is good now. Yeah, new normal. But it was interesting. The wild card round, now predicting the divisional round, and some interesting games. So for those of you who do not know how the podcast works, is I will look at last week's slate of games, tell you what I thought about each game, then look at this week's slate of games and give predictions for score and outcome and predictions for player performances and all that. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Disclaimer alert. This is not gambling advice, and I fully mean it. I am not responsible for any money that was lost if it was lost while gambling on things said in this podcast. Also, I would love to thank the sponsor of the show, Souls Auto Parts. If you need parts for your vehicle, Souls is the way to go. You can call them, email them, go to their in-person location. This will all be down in the description. Also, this podcast is available on both YouTube and Spotify and some other podcast indexes. If you're watching on one, the link to the other will be in the description. If you're on YouTube, if you would like and subscribe, that would be great. So, now on with the show. So, last week, the 49ers pummeled the Seahawks, and the Seahawks got exactly what they deserved for eliminating the Lions by having the refs hand them the game. Yeah. I'm a huge Rams fan. I was so mad at that game that the refs basically handed it to the Seahawks. And yeah, that was maddening, to say the least. And then there was Giants-Vikings, and the Giants somehow won. I don't know how, but the Vikings defense let them score too much. Then there was Cowboys-Buccaneers. Good to see the fraud Buccaneers get what they deserved. 8-9 going into the playoffs. And the Cowboys pummeled them. The defense did well. Yeah, they did well. The Eagles were on bye for being the number one. In the AFC, the Bills had such an ugly win. Like, ugly win against the Miami Dolphins. And their third string quarterback. The Bengals beat the Ravens, and the 4-5 matchup, the Jaguars beat the Chargers. I was hoping the Chargers would win, and that didn't go well for the Chargers, and it's kind of maddening because Joey Bosa did have a point when he said he got held, and when he gets angry about that not being called, he gets slapped with an unsportsmanlike conduct, and they go for 2, and the Jaguars go for 2 and win the game because of it, and it was kind of bad. They should have called holding there, the refs, but yeah, that's not great for the Chargers. I think they did a good job by keeping Brandon Staley, but firing Joe Lombardi, because it was Joe Lombardi's fault. the defense was doing phenomenally. 5 turnovers in the first half, 4 interceptions, 3 by Asante Samuel Jr., which is incredible. But the offense couldn't capitalize. And they were running it very well early in the game. The Jaguars made a great halftime adjustment, and they were stopping the run better. So the natural thing to do is, just keep running it. Don't go to the passing game, even though you have, an amazing athletic young quarterback. You just keep running it up the middle for, 2 yards, between 2 yards and -1 yard every time. And if he had transitioned to the passing game, Joe Lombardi, that would have been better because Justin Herbert is really good at being a quarterback, and they don't use him enough. Austin Eckler, yes, he's good, but when he gets stopped, then routinely you gotta go to Justin Herbert, and that's what they didn't do. They didn't adjust to the situation. And so Joe Lombardi got fired, and I'm glad he did. He should have been fired a year ago. He did not deserve his job. Okay, on with the predictions. Jaguars, Chiefs. It's going to be the Chiefs. It's not like this is going to be close. And Trevor Lawrence is questionable with a toe injury, limited participation in practice. Brandon Scherf, questionable, limited participation in practice. Abdomen. Jamal Agnew, shoulder, limited participation in practice, questionable. L'Jarius Sneed had full participation in practice, but no status. Same for Sky Moore. Mecole Hardman is out with a pelvis injury. It's going to be the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is going to Patrick Mahomes. I think he gets 2 touchdowns through the air, 1 through the ground. I think their running back, I forget who it is. I think it's Isaiah Pacheco. Will get at least 1 rushing touchdown. Travis Kelce will catch at least 1 touchdown. I think Christian Kirk can catch at least 1 touchdown, but I think this is like a 35-13 game for the Chiefs. Giants at Eagles. I've heard that the Giants will win. From someone who lives in New York. Not surprisingly. But, how did the Eagles get to the number 1 seed? It was by crushing the Giants. And so, this is going to be the Eagles. Julian Love and Landon Collins have limited participation in practice, no game status. Isaiah Hodgins is the same, limited participation, no status. Fletcher Cox for the Eagles, limited participation, no status. Landon Dickerson, same as Fletcher Cox. Josh Sweat too. James Bradbury is the same too. A.J. Brown, the same. Robert Quinn, full participation in practice, no status. Darius Slay, limited participation, no status. Jason Kelce, limited participation in practice, no status. Lane Johnson, full participation in practice, no status. I think A.J. Brown will play. I think that, the Eagles did struggle at the end of the season, but then again, Jalen Hurts was injured. I think Hurts will throw 2 touchdowns and rush for 1. I think Devonta Smith will catch at least 1 touchdown, definitely. And Daniel Jones will be sacked at least twice and will be intercepted at least once. But I do think that Darius Slayton will catch at least 1 touchdown and Daniel Jones will throw at least 2 and rush for at least 1. I do think this will be the Eagles' game. I also think Miles Sanders will rush for at least 1 touchdown for the Eagles. I think this ends up being 31-21 for the Eagles. Bengals at Bills. Before the playoffs, I would have said Bills. But after they struggled against Miami and their third string quarterback, I have less confidence in them, and I think this will be the Bengals. But Trey Flowers is doubtful, did not participate in practice. Eli Apple had full participation in practice, no status. DJ Reader too. And that's it. For the Bills, Taquan Jones is questionable with limited participation in practice. Isaiah McKenzie had full participation, no status. Jordan Phillips had limited participation, is questionable. Jordan Poyer did not participate in practice, no status. Josh Allen had full participation in practice, no status though. I think that Joe Burrow will rush for at least one touchdown and pass for at least two. I think that Josh Allen will rush for at least one and pass for at least one, but throw 2 interceptions. I think that Jamar Chase will catch at least one touchdown. And T. Higgins will catch at least one touchdown. I think that Stephon Diggs will catch at least one touchdown. Sam Hubbard will get at least one sack. And James Cook or Devin Singletary, one of the running backs for the Bills, will get at least one touchdown. But I think it will be the Bengals in kind of a close game, 28-21. Cowboys at 49ers. Definitely the 49ers here. They're just a better team. They're stacked. Now, Brock Purdy, I think he's a bit overrated. I think the team has been carrying him. And I think he doesn't have that much of a workload because, he's on the 49ers. He's got Deebo Samuel. He's got Brandon Ayuk. He's got that defense. He's got George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey. He's got all the weapons. Still, he is far from irrelevant. Okay, so let's see. Jaron Kearse is questionable with a knee injury. Had limited participation in practice. DeMarcus Lawrence had limited participation but no status. Trayvon Mullen is oh no, not him. Jason Peters is out. And yeah, Trayvon Mullen had full participation in practice, no game status though. But they do have some hurt players over there on the Cowboys side. For some reason, Jimmy G isn't on IR. He is on the injury report as out, which, it's not hard to see. Samson Ebukam, didn't he used to be on the Rams? Yes, he used to be on the Rams. Juwan Jennings and Trent Williams Juwan Jennings and Samson Ebukam had limited participation in practice. No status. Trent Williams had full participation in practice, but no status. I think that Dak Prescott's going to be sacked 3 times. I think Nick Bosa will get at least 1 sack. I think Dak Prescott will be intercepted twice. I think Tony Pollard should be the running back all the time. Ezekiel Elliott is burned out. But I think that, Tony Pollard will rush for at least 1 touchdown. But I think that Deebo Samuel will catch at least 1 touchdown and Christian McCaffrey will rush for at least 2. Micah Parsons will get at least 2 sacks, though, because he's Micah Parsons. I do think this ends up being the 49ers game 28-17. And, and the Giants game versus the Eagles, I forgot to include Saquon Barkley. My prediction for him is rushing for at least 1 touchdown. But, Eagles still win. For the Eagles, they might need a better running back for next year. I think the Jets might want to trade one of their running backs. I mean, they got James Robinson and Breece Hall. They're both good running backs, and I think that maybe they could trade Breece Hall at the end of the year, the Jets. I don't know, but I think some team should try for Breece Hall because he's good. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to check out Soul's Auto Parts, that will be in the description. If you want to check out my other platforms like Spotify or YouTube, down in the description. If you want to contact me, that's in the description. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and you'll hear more of me next episode. By the way, if the audio didn't sound that good, that is because I wasn't checking enough, and I did not use my normal microphone. I just used a computer microphone. I hope it wasn't that bad. I hope this change in the volume wasn't bad. But yeah, so just know that other episodes have better audio. Yeah, you'll hear more of me next episode.